Every day on the news, it's they're opening the Strait. Any day now, it's happening. It's not getting open. It's not getting open. The American military is going to start escorting ships to the Strait of Hormuz. Donald Trump has decreed it. He promised it. It's not happening. It's not. Peace negotiations. Yes, peace negotiations. Any day now. Any day the Strait is going to open. It's not opening. And so, if everyone talks about the Strait of Hormuz, I decided to talk about it myself because it's an interesting topic, right? It's the gas prices. Now, on the internet, I keep seeing it's like Israel manifested itself in the Middle East and is dragging America, its puppet slave empire, into fighting Iran. And the Americans under currently dominion from the Israel. And, this is one version. But I don't see the other version of event, which talks about the history of Iran. And I think it's very important to talk about it for people to actually understand what's going on today. You see, back in 1951, when Nancy Pelosi was a young maiden and she was taking pictures in black and white, there was this guy called Prime Minister Mossadegh. And Prime Minister Mossadegh nationalized Iran's oil industry, which, as you can imagine, angered the British as well as the United States, which deployed its most terrifying boogeyman for the left, the CIA. And together with the British, they managed to overthrow the Prime Minister Mossadegh and instead installed the Shah. Now, the Shah didn't manage to last long because we have what Hassan Piker loved most in the world, the Ayatollah, right? So the Ayatollah went in, they overthrew the Shah, and as you can imagine, the United States and the British were upset because they invested a lot of money in order to make sure that the Shah stays in power. And the Ayatollah was not playing based on the Western regimes. So tensions rise and something happens. The American embassy gets stormed, right? And so a lot of diplomats were taken, and this leads to what the Americans consider to be the 444th days of humiliation. And every single night on the American news, you would see how they would constantly discuss about the prisoners. Are they being fed? Are we giving water? When are we going to rescue them? Why is the president incompetent? Why is the president not doing anything? And the Americans did actually try to send help. I think they sent like 2 helicopters or something like that. They crashed. Again, the 444 days of humiliation, right? And a lot of boomers actually grew up with that. That's where a lot of the anti-Iranian sentiment is. Plus the fact that, well, the Iranian nation has a little bit of imperial traditions. If it wasn't for America, they would have definitely had much more to say in the region. But the idea is that a lot of the people that were in power at the time are still alive today. And they have nothing besides a seething hatred towards Iran. Now, obviously, Israel is taking advantage of that seething hatred. And they're like, come on, let's do something about it, right? And so, both parties agree. And which is why we have this current situation with the Strait of Hormuz currently. Now, I said I will explain when will the Strait open. I can't make predictions in a crystal ball, but I can tell you that I'm almost 99% sure, I would be shocked if it happens earlier than the midterms. Why am I saying this? Well, if you look at the situation with the 444 days of humiliation, you notice that the moment the hostages were rescued were literally one day after the president won, right? So the president from the opposite party, he campaigned and he said, if I win, I will rescue the hostages. And literally the next day, the hostages are rescued, which means that he was probably talking with the Ayatollah and they were actually willing to shame the president that attacked them in the first place. And so, looking at that, what they're probably trying to do now is the same thing, right? From Iran's point of view, they actually benefit the longer this drags on. Donald Trump campaigned as the peace president, right? A lot of people on the internet are saying, oh, we're being enslaved by Israel, right? Like, why is the American military at Israel's beck and call? This is becoming more and more predominant, not just on the right, but on the left as well, right? And so you have people like the respectable Nick Fuentes that now is persuaded to vote Democrat because he cannot in good conscience vote Republican. I mean, look, you see, we need to win by the right by purifying it as we vote the Democrat, and the right will say, well, I mean, look, if Nick Fuentes votes Democrat, holy shit, like we need to change our tactics. I joke, but no, the reality is that if you look at the polls, the Trump administration, the MAGAs, they're losing bigly because this current situation with the Strait of Hormuz is reminding people that it exists every single time they go to buy gas. Right? And on top of that, yes, like many people do feel deceived because one of Trump's campaign was if you vote for Hillary, if you vote for Kamala, you're voting for war with Iran. And so what does Donald Trump do? Well, he starts an engagement with Iran. Not a good look, right? Not a good look. And so the longer this drags on, the longer he is seen as incompetent, because this is something that the American people don't tolerate. They can tolerate a liar, they can tolerate people on the Epstein files, they can tolerate a lot of things, but they cannot tolerate incompetence. And the longer it drags on, well, the worse the midterms are going to look for the Republican Party. And so the people in charge of Iran, I mean, this is the only way that they have in order to punish the current administration. The reality is that the Democrats are also in favor with the war with Iran, right? So it's not like the Democrats are now the pro-peace party and they're like, oh, well, we would never, right? Pretty sure that Nick Fuentes is going to be equally disappointed when the party that he supports, which is the Democrats, are going to also go into the Middle East, and they're going to also be allied with Israel. No, it's something that's expected, right? I do not believe that the Strait of Hormuz is going to open any sooner than the American midterms, and it would be actually hilarious if it opens January a day later. How much is Trump going to lose? This looks pretty grim. I mean, obviously, he's not going to lose everything, but he's not going to win as good as he would have if this situation just didn't happen. But what can you do? Like sometimes unforeseen consequences happen. Hopefully, it will be after the midterms, because otherwise, the longer this goes on, more expensive life gets. It's not just about your own personal car, but it's also the price of food at the supermarket. Governments that usually take taxpayer money from the gas being used are going to have to set taxes elsewhere. It's grim. Let me know what you guys think. And as usual, we'll see you in the comment section. Take care.